Okay, so perfect world for the Sacramento Kings. In your world, perfect situation. Who are they taking at number 24 if everything went right for them?
So if everything went right for me, it would be Trace Jackson Davis or Tristan Vucevic.
Oh, I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah.
See, okay, I didn't know anything about him, but before someone in our Discord goes, "Hey, you got to watch this guy at the draft combine scrimmages," and I watched him, like, oh wow, and he was projected to
Yeah.
be maybe a second round guy. Seems like he's moving up a bit. What do you like about
Yeah,
him?
he's been in my first round for a while just because I took the time to watch, you can that's one of the beautiful things these days, like
Yeah,
with YouTube and everything, you can watch these European games. I mean, it's
Yep.
not that difficult. If you've got a smart TV, you can figure it out, right? So um, you know, do a little Google search and you'll look for a full game of Tristan and you'll find one. And so I watched him and I was thinking, man, this sure looks like a first round pick to me. He can shoot. I mean, he can really shoot. He's big, but not such a softy. Like there've been some bigs that were just shooters in the NBA over the years. Say Channing Frye, someone like that comes to mind. I think he's got a little more of that toughness and grit to go along with the shooting ability. So he's someone that I like. As you guys both said, shooting. You've got to be able to shoot, and then if you could shoot, then we go from there and look at all the rest of the stuff. So I like him from that standpoint. He'd give the Kings a little something different from the big spot, behind Sabonis, because he'd be, so much more of a shooter. He's tall. He's like 7 feet tall,
Yeah.
and can handle it a little bit, moves fluidly. He's definitely someone that could be a sleeper pick at 24. So
Ooh.
he or Trace Jackson Davis, I think, would make me happy. I'm a little bit intrigued by Noah Clowney
Okay.
from Alabama. He has a ways to go. He's a little bit more one of those Captain Save a prospect guys where you
okay.
gotta, coach him up. He's in the 20s as a 3-point shooter, but when you watch him shoot, it looks good. It looks, like when you watch him, you think, wow, that's an NBA player. He's got the NBA body. He just fits the suit. You know what I mean? And he looks like one of those guys that with good coaching and development could really be a player. So one of those three guys would be great. At 38, I love Kobe Brown from Missouri. I told you about him being a little bit older, so that remains to be seen. I love Oscar Schwebwe from Kentucky.
And they worked him out. Yeah.
He has great hands, man. Like not an offensive dynamo or anything like that, but just a pure rebounder. He has the suction cups for hands, which I don't throw around, very often. The ball just is attracted to him, and he did some impressive things. If you look back over, let me see if I can dig up a couple of notes here that I had on Schwebwe, because there were a couple of things about him that stood out more so than some of the other prospects. So okay, here we go. Positive defender. One of the things I always look at is what is your defensive rating versus your team's defensive rating. So Kentucky 4.7 points per 100 possessions better when he's on the floor. He's the career leader in SEC box score plus minus. So that tells you right there. I mean, a guy plays 2 or 3 seasons at a school, or 4 seasons in Oscar's case, and he's the career leader in box score plus minus. That's a big deal to me. He does a good job drawing fouls, even though he's a low usage player, which tells me that he's going to fit in. A lot of these guys, especially if you're looking at someone at like 24, right? We're not talking about someone who's going to be a high usage guy, is going to have the ball in his hands, and I mean, that's going to be Fox, that's going to be Sabonis, right?
Right.
On this team, and there's going to be a pecking order. Oscar's one of those guys where you would just throw him out there. You don't ever have to run a play for him. He's going to get every rebound. He'd be a King's version of Looney, basically.
Mm.
You'll take
Right.
that. You'll take that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying, to me, if it was a little bit more about need, Oscar really is someone who makes a lot of sense for the Kings. At 38, Julian Strawther might still be there from Gonzaga. Little bit intriguing with his shooting ability from the wing. Also someone that maybe put me off a little bit with his personality, some of the things that he said. Seems to be very sure of himself. We'll just leave it at that. Maybe more so than he should be for a 38th pick. And then at 54, I really like Tumani Kamara from Dayton. He's someone that you should check out. He's like a 6'8", 6'9" power forward that can shoot. Under the radar guy that was really great. He went from Portsmouth to the G League Ignite camp, and then was one of the guys that got invited to the real NBA Combine. So someone to keep an eye on. Just another guy who I think would fit in seamlessly and seems to have that great personality.
Bobby,
Dude, Bobby does his homework.
does it all.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like obsessed with trying to not listen to because there's so many. Here's the thing that people need to understand is, like I can think of one guy off the top of my head for sure whose family is actually in the agency business, but he's a draft analyst and gets, followed and mentioned and talks about all these people. And it's like, okay, but who is his family representing? You know what I mean? So